Tomorrow is the day in which the prayer for the consecration of Russia will be said by Pope Francis and hopefully by the broad majority of the bishops. And I wanted to just revisit this subject one more time because to me it is too important of a matter not to comment on again before the consecration actually takes place, and it's scheduled to take place tomorrow at, I believe, 5 o'clock Rome time. So that's like, I believe that would be noon Eastern time here in the United States and Canada. And first of all, I wanted to say that for a lot of people who are not Catholic or who are only nominally Catholic, I want to try to make a case for why this is something that should be of interest to you as well. I don't usually engage in polemics as far as theological matters. I am a practicing Catholic, a Catholic convert, but I am a highly imperfect Catholic, and I'm not just saying that to be modest. I know full well that I'm as I think I've said this before. I hesitate to call myself devout because I don't think I deserve that title of devout. I think somebody who is a devout Catholic is somebody who is much more down the path than I am right now. I am just I just mostly do the bare minimum, and I'm not saying that to boast in some way, because it's certainly nothing to boast about. I believe in it. I believe in the faith. I believe in it strongly enough to believe that it's important to do what one is commanded to do. And so I attend Mass weekly and sometimes during the week as well. And I go to whenever there's a holy day of obligation. I also go to Mass then. I observe the sacraments. I go to the sacrament of confession. I've spoken about that before. And also, when my soul is in the proper state to receive the sacrament of body and blood of Christ, I receive the Holy Eucharist as well. But I am not somebody who's I'm not a Catholic apologist. I am a somewhat educated Catholic layman, and I do have interest in certain things that pertain to Catholicism, and one of them is the visitation of the 3 children of Fatima by the Blessed Virgin Mary in 1917, Fatima, Portugal. All of which happened over the course of 6 months, culminated in an event called the Miracle of the Sun. I'm not going to go into detail about any of that, except to say this is the bedrock, the Fatima lore, if you will, if I can call it that. This is the reason why this consecration is being said tomorrow, March 25th, 2022. What made this occasion, what gave this occasion a sense of urgency is the current situation with the war in Ukraine. But the idea, the notion that the Blessed Virgin has commanded again, God speaks through the humble to confound the high and mighty, to paraphrase Scripture. In this case, again, if you believe in the Fatima story, God, in the form of His servant, the Virgin Mary, spoke to three very poor, illiterate, ignorant, not ignorant in a pejorative sense, but ignorant in the sense that they didn't really know much about the world. They were just these poor, essentially peasant children living in this far-flung village known as Fatima, Portugal. These children were visited by the BVM, who, over the course of several months, one of the things she showed them was a terrifying vision of hell. Another thing that she told them was that it was urgent for the Pope, in line with all of the bishops, to consecrate the nation of Russia. Actually, she just said Russia because the children didn't know at the time that Russia was even a nation. They thought that Russia was just a sinful woman, which again shows these are guileless children. But there was a necessity for Russia to be consecrated through a special prayer said by the Pope, in line with all of the bishops of the Church, and that Russia needed to be mentioned by name in this prayer. And in this prayer, the Russia needed to be consecrated to the Sacred Heart of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Now, what makes people who studied Fatima, who find it a very compelling story for any number of reasons, and if you want to look into it, please do. There are lots of resources out there. However you might feel about it, I would just say, look into it, judge for yourself. But the necessity of the prayer for Russia was for this reason, according to Mary. What she told them was that if this consecration did not take place, that Russia would spread her errors across the world, and that Russia would become an instrument of God's instrument of wrath against an unfaithful world. But that if this consecration were said, that there will be peace again. Remember, these visitations came in the middle of at the time unheard of destructive conflagration known as World War I, and later on, Lucia, one of the seers, the only one of the three who survived. In fact, the other two, a boy and another girl, they both died of the Spanish flu during that epidemic, shortly after the end of World War I. But Lucia went on to become a devout nun and continued to receive visitations and visions. And what she was told eventually was that this was in the late 1920s. This was the time for it was urgent that this consecration be said for Russia. Remember that when the Virgin first mentioned Russia to the children, Russia had not yet gone communist. The Bolshevik Revolution happened in October of 1917, and when Mary mentioned Russia spreading her errors across the world, that was in May, I believe, during the May visitation. This visitations always came on the 13th of the month. So So already, we see there was, this kind of uncanny forecasting of something that was to come, because before the October Revolution, you would ask, well, what errors are we talking about? Russia was this czarist, this ancient czarist power, traditional state, but it was only after October that it transformed into this expansive, what will become this expansively communist regime. But it's, I think, sometime in 29 or so. I believe it was around that period, maybe a little bit later. I'm not totally sure. Lucia was told now is the time for this consecration to be said, or else a worse conflict will break out during the reign of Pius XI. So I guess I'm getting a little more into the weeds here of things than I meant to. Suffice it to say, the consecration was not said, and the world saw a war that was even worse than World War I, even more destructive, even more deadly, and even more devastating. So all along, Lucia was saying this prayer needs to be said, and there are other things to the prophecies. There are 3 secrets, but I'm not going to go into detail about any of those. Again, you can look other places to find out that information if you're interested. But there were several times after that where popes tried to, heeded the words of the Fatima apparitions, because Fatima had been approved by the church. This is something, again, I've said this before to those who, just to correct those who think that the church, the Catholic Church, behaves in a particular way, who have erroneous ideas about how things get confirmed, or just basically how credulous the church is. There are a shit ton of alleged miracles that have happened. There are any number of miraculous events. There are any number of would-be seers and visionaries, and a lot of them might be deluded, but some of them might be valid. But the church has not weighed in on the vast majority of these things. And whenever there is a miracle that supposedly takes place, the church takes a very, like for instance the miracles that have been said to have happened at Lourdes, most famously at Lourdes in France, with Saint Bernadette in the grotto that eventually came to be famous, and still is a spot for the sick to visit, and that many have reported being healed from all kinds of conditions. But the church has only weighed in on a small handful of these cases, and it has always taken a very dubious stance. Just like in cases of supposed exorcisms, the church doesn't immediately say, "Oh, this must be an exorcist. This must be a need for an exorcism. This must be a demon infestation." They exhaust all the other possibilities first. They employ people who are not Catholic, who are atheists. In the case of these supposed miracles, and they have them examine the people who said they experienced these miracles to see if there are other explanations, or if there's the possibility that that the people are lying, or have been putting them on, or whatever. They're just looking for notoriety, or they're looking to embarrass the church as one one writer named Zola once did. He tried to fake a miracle to get the church to say this is a real miracle, and then so that he could say, ha ha ha, I fooled you. But it didn't work out because he didn't pass muster. So his scheme failed. But all of this is just is prelude to what I want to say about what's going to be taking place tomorrow in Rome. And I think I'll end this video now, because I've been more verbose than I expected to, and I think I want to start anew with a new video to conclude my thoughts on this matter. So thanks for watching, and please continue to watch my second video on this subject, which should post immediately after this one.